Dr. Renee Mera. And before we go to your questions, because we have a whole lot of questions today, I would like to introduce Dr. Sumesh Kaushik, who's the president of NCCBAM, and he's going to introduce our board.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. Namaskar. This is your organization, NCCBAM. It is representing all the Ayurvedic professionals who have completed their education, BAMS or MD in Ayurvedic medicine. So we have a board, Dr. Sujata Reddy or Vaidyas Sujata Reddy, which is here. She is a BAMS and is the vice president and also the chair, board certification and credentialing. So Dr. Reddy. And then we have Dr. Renee Mera, who is a DRPH, and she is the secretary, and also she is actually well known in the media field in New York area, and have her own company which is advertising and broadcasting. Dr. Anvedya Hemlata Hunavekar, so she is here treasurer and auditor, and actually she is also working with Dr. Sujata Reddy in credentialing and certification. We have two more members. Miss Raquel Chacon is the communication chair, and also with this Sonali Kalbor, and we have the Mukta Mrate, both are in an exam board. So I do not want to spend a lot of time on our introduction ourselves and talking about the board, but I want to make sure that you do see these faces and you'll be meeting them over and over. And later on, when there are questions, you will see and meet all of us again. So with that, again, I welcome you, and a lot of questions we have. I turn over to Dr. Mera to answer all the questions.
Thank you very much, Dr. Kaushik. So we're going to go right into that info session. Our first question to it, I'd like to know the vision and mission of NCCBAM. So the mission of NCCBAM, as the name, the acronym is, it is all about certifying and credentialing BMS, Vaidyas, and higher degree holders in the United States. And we uphold the highest standards of professionalism and integrity so that there is high quality Ayurvedic care, Ayurvedic medicine practice in the United States. And I can't emphasize enough that we are an independent entity, a registered organization in the United States and under no organization influence. And we see to it that we become a supportive hand, a supportive organization, kind of a nurturing environment for BMS, Vaidyas, and higher degree holders. At the same time, supportive environment for our clients in this evolving Ayurvedic landscape in the United States. So that is our mission. And at the same time, the board certified traditional Ayurvedic medicine, Dr. BCTAM, is the highest recognition one can get, because this actually is a testament to the specialized knowledge and the clinical competencies. This becomes a great force in Ayurvedic medicine in the United States. It fosters a lot of trust amongst clients and their peers. It's the highest recognition that they can get. We are not a membership organization, and we are trying to reach out to all the BMS Vaidyas so that we can become a critical mass. And I always say one more thing, and that is, if we can be at the table where decisions are made, get our own table and get our own critical mass of kindred spirits so that we can make our own decisions, and the table that did not get us on their side, they will come to us. So that is what has been my motto all my life, and that's what we do in NCCBAM. Moving on to our second question. I need more clarity on what we are trying to do. Is it more of credentialing and standardization of Ayurvedic practice in the United States? What is the use of all these degree credentialing? Dr. Kaushik, go for it.
So the question said, and you are right, yes, the number one step is to create a credentialing and certification board. So in any healthcare profession, any medical profession, before we become a licensed professional, we need to complete education. Education standards have to be met. And that is also one thing we're doing. We want to make sure that the person have the highest educational standard in not only in the classroom, but also the clinical education have been achieved. After that, the person has to take the board exam. Right now, unfortunately, until April 30th, that exam is exempt. So we are grandfathering all the BMS graduates and higher degree holders. But in generally, person have to take the exam. After the exam, once when that information is with the board, that information is communicated with the state licensing board eventually, which at this point is not existing. But once we have that board certification, that is the first step to go towards licensing, and that is must. And it has to be an independent organization, and that's what we are.
Thank you very much. Next question, which I pretty much answered before. Why should a BMS get credentialed by NCCBAM? I want to know more about the validity of certification and how different is it from NAMA boards. So again, reiterating what we are an independent entity, registered organization in the United States, and the only independent entity at this point of time in the United States that is credentialing and certifying BMS Vaidyas and higher degree holders. And again, that is a testament to their specialized knowledge and their clinical competencies. We do not have a membership, and when we give that BCTM, that is all about the highest academic qualification of Ayurvedic practitioner in the United States. And all this has been done upholding the highest standards of professionalism and integrity through education, through research, through advocacy, and through outreach. Moving on, what is the credibility of a BMS? Vaidyas Sujata.
Yes, I want every one of you to ask that question to yourselves. What is your credibility with your own BMS degree? The answer is we are the highest qualified Ayurvedic professionals in the USA. And we have the highest education. We have gone through almost 8,000 hours of training in our educational careers. We have experience practicing clinical practice. So that is a testament to our BMS degree itself. How is that valid here? That is one thing that we have to recognize ourselves as the highest qualified professionals for the same reason that we are validating the degree from India. Any degree from any other country has to be validated in the United States. There is other organizations that give you the credits to get your degree validated, to get your credits to go on to further education. For your information, BMS is the only degree, undergraduate degree, that qualifies all credits to go on even to do a master's program till today. I hope that answers your question.
Thank you, Vaidyas Sujata. Moving on, how can this credential support my career in the United States as an educator and doctor? Dr. Kashyap?
A lot of possibilities. Number one thing is, again, like Dr. Vaidyas Sujata said, this is the credibility. You prove yourself to be the highest qualified Ayurvedic professional, and which allows you to practice Ayurvedic medicine. Number one thing. Second thing is, in different organizations and different professions this time, I have seen many medical doctors who are looking for an Ayurvedic practitioner or doctor to work with them. I have seen that in research institution where they are trying to find a qualified Vaidya who have a degree from a recognized school who is certified. So that opens the doors for you. So in that case, when you have the certification, that gives you many other opportunities to further your career in this country.
Yes, it does broaden the professional horizons. Vaidyas Sujata, you want to add on how the board certification BCTAM really carries the weight over here?
Absolutely. So if you're practicing in a clinic, in your own private practice, really displaying that board and actually gives so much confidence and trust by your own clients that you are board certified. They're not going to know what BAMS is or any other Ayurveda certification is unless you have an authentic, validation for your certificate, for your degree. And that is a board certification that we give. And unless you explain that to your clients, that reliability and that validity and that trust that you establish and the rapport that you establish with your clients is very important. So that is one. And secondly, if you want to go into any other higher education or any other, if you're a conference or you're a presenter or you're, even in your own fields, if you're practicing other than Ayurveda, if you also have another additional, board certification that carries a lot of weight. For example, I'm a licensed mental health counselor, and I also, very proudly display that I'm a board certified traditional Ayurveda medicine practitioner, with which I integrate both fields. So it gives great higher specialty for your own profession.
Thank you. The next question, what's the extra knowledge we can gain by getting certified by NCCBAM for the MD graduates from government recognized universities from India? And why Indian degree needs some accreditation or mandate to be a member of association? Vaidyas.
So let me start with this, that there is no mandate. You do not have to be associated with any organization to be a BAMS or to start your practice or to do further education or something like that. This is really not a mandate. We have the missions to get together to start towards the mission of the licensing. That is the ultimate goal, and that's why we are here. And about the credentialing, what do we get? So we do offer the BCTAM credentialing certification, and this requires you to provide multiple documents and exams to prove your efficiency in Ayurvedic medicine. Like if you have noticed, like any kind of degree, whatever you have earned outside of the USA, you need to get it credentialed to be recognized in United States. And we are providing that platform for you. We are credentialing you, validating your degree, so you can work, you can take the education. And apart from that, we also provide you to get guidance regarding legal and ethical practices in USA and get understanding of the scope of practice in United States. That's our motto, to help BMS community basically. And that's why it is necessary, even if you have BMS, even if you have MD, you need to associate, even if it is not a mandate, that helps you to get a platform to start with and also to grow basically.
Thank you so very much. What is the licensing pathway work model, and how can NCCBAM envision licensure? Are there any collaboration considered with state organizations? Dr. Kaushik?
I think talk about this briefly before. So I was part of getting license for some of the states for naturopathic medicine. And so like Dr. Shanbag, I'm also a naturopathic doctor. So working as the director of admissions for a naturopathic medical school, I was involved in many states. So the first step always is to get certification. Once you're certified, the numbers count and all of us come together. It's for all of us, just not for one or two people. At that point, we educate the public as they come as our patients or client, depending on where you are, and also educate the legislature. So we had to start lobbying. At that point, depending upon state to state, different states have different laws. So we look for one state or two states which are more favorable, and we try there. Once one state is licensed, that gives us a strong hold that this is recognized. But before that, in case of naturopathy, we went to state board and we had to present to them that we know what we are talking about. We are not just talking about herbs. We know anatomy, we know physiology, we know pathology. So we have to actually show our credential credibility, but basically how much we know. And then once somebody is there, and public has to be there for us in speak in our favor. And so we have to, that's usually a model chosen. Anybody who came from any other country in the beginning, MDs or DOs or NDs or DCs, they had to go through the same process. So once you're licensed, then of course, from one state to further, you can move on. So that is what we plan to do. Absolutely.
Next question, I'd like to have you answer that as well. What does the authentic Ayurveda degree holders benefit, and what do they lose in future? Pros and cons of various organizational activities and more.
Only thing is there is to gain. Basically, once you are a certified individual, and eventually move towards a licensure. So in the states where at this point, in some professional, again, I can relate to naturopathy, even though it is not licensed in that state, but if they are certified by some organization in the state, at least there is some protection. There are some insurance which will accept them, not fully, but at least at least people will know that these people are licensed in other state. So we have to start there. So there's nothing against it. Only thing is, sometime our own professionals will go against us when the people are not qualified. In case of naturopathy, there was the Clayton College of Naturopathic Medicine, Birmingham, Alabama, who were giving online degrees, and they were meeting only once a month. And unfortunately, at one point, going back in 1992 or 93, I was also a faculty member there. And in 2003, 2004, I was also one of those people who were against it, because one of the graduates actually took somebody off of the drugs and gave them IV, even though they had no training. And then a 9-year-old girl died. And so our own schools, which are giving education and pretending to be qualifying people, that will go against us. Otherwise, for us, is always a bright future.
Thank you very much, Dr. Kaushik. Next question, will NCCBAM support the certified with CME and other educational standards required to continue medical practice here in the United States? Vaidyas Sujata.
So this question really applies to the MDs and the licensed, healthcare professionals. So one of the things is the continuing medical education credits is offered by the Accreditation Council for Continuing Medical Educations. So we have to, whoever is offering like a conference or a workshop or anything like that, whether it is in any field, needs to be approved by this board and applied and approved to give the continuing medical education. And that is a process, that application is a process that, the conferences or the workshops or anybody who's putting their education out there for trainings, they have to go through that to get the CME credit. And then when they certify that, that can be applied to the continuing education for that individual who is having a medical profession. Now, as far as NCCBAM is concerned, we give what is called as the Ayurveda continuing education. Now, for example, if there's a conference, they will apply for the, these ACE credits, and then we will give them the, we will accredit the conference and then give a number of hours that can be used towards continuing education for all the participants. So that they can use to renew their board certification, and this will apply to the BCTAM certificate, board certificate holders. Now, same way, there are other organizations too that can get credits, and in their own scope of practice, they can get the continuing education to be, renewing their certifications. I hope this answers this question.
Thank you very much. Will NCCBAM certify individuals with dependent visa status and no work permit? Vaidyas.
Thank you, Dr. Rini, for the question. And I know this was a requirement until now. We were asking everyone to have a valid EAD work authorization before getting the certification, because we were in the grandfathering process. The idea or the assumption was people are already here, they're already practicing, so they have some kind of work authorizations. But before I answer the question whether they will get, let me clarify, getting a BCTAM certification does not give you the license to work to accept the money from someone. That is a separate process and we don't control that. All the legal aspects of starting your practice and work authorization, that you have to worry and work on yourself. We cannot help you with that. And yes, to answer the questions, yes, we will be credentialing the people who do not have the work permit or they are on the dependent visas. The only requirement will be that they will have to produce the valid proof of their residency and their identity. If that is fulfilled, yes, you can apply for that with the dependent visa and with no work permit as well.
Thank you very much, Vaidyas. Criteria to obtain permission legally to start Ayurvedic practice in the US. Dr. Kaushik.
So as we mentioned, there's no licensing at this time. in many states we can practice. Again, we will talk about those states also later on. But in generally, when you're starting any practice is a business, you need to get a license to operate a business in that city, in the town, or in that state. So a business license is required, and that is actually you can apply online, get a tax ID from IRS, and after that you can either, if you need, if there are more complications, you can actually consult a tax attorney or a healthcare attorney. But establishing a LLC or a sole proprietorship or S corporation, that will be the first thing, because that actually in cases, if something happens, that gives you a liability, so a limited liability. Nobody goes after your personal assets. So starting that, you can start again. Make sure you know the legality of practicing. Do not go beyond your scope of practice. We are not doctors, and again, you cannot write yourself a physician unless you are a physician or doctor, unless somebody have additional degree like doctor of naturopathic medicine, or somebody have additional certification like massage therapy. So in that case, you cannot do physical exam in many of the states. So pulse and the tongue, you can do that, but again, that also had to be in writing that this is the only thing I'm doing. And again, I'm not substituting for your medical advice. So that actually has to be there. But first thing is getting a business permit or business license to operate a business in that town or city.
Thank you. You just talked about the scope and practice, and our next question is about that. What is the scope and practice and limitations of Ayurvedic practice here? And I would ask Vaidyas to answer that question.
Thank you, Dr. Rini. So yeah, it's a really nice question. And as you all know, Ayurveda is growing in United States. Yeah, answer is definitely yes. We have a good scope for Ayurveda here, United States. And it comes under complementary and alternative medicines. And based on my clinical experience and my practice, I can definitely tell many clients, they are turning towards the holistic approach, and they really want somebody who can help them to take care about and balance their health, and they can stay away from the medicines. And that we can be able to do through Ayurvedic consultations. Ayurvedic practitioners can offer Ayurvedic consultation. They can always do the diet recommendation. They can also do the lifestyle changes recommendation, which we have as you know, Ayurveda is a beautiful science. We all have very good knowledge, and we can definitely help when the clients comes with some particular health condition here. Also, as Ayurveda practitioner, and when we have a BMS and MD degree, we can definitely establish a Panchakarma, and we can also give a Panchakarma services in the United States, and that is really growing here. And we can also conduct yoga and retreat programs, which is a good scope here again. And we can be the Ayurveda educator. We can also conduct the education programs and classes. Yeah, answer is yes. There is a very good scope for Ayurveda in the United States. Thank you.
Just to follow up with you, Rupali, the limitation is we cannot do basti.
Yeah.
We cannot do Rakta Mokshana.
Yeah.
So, just understand the limitations even with Panchakarma. And even if Abhyanga is allowed, it is not considered a massage, but it's better to be having a licensed massage
therapist, yes.
In your practice to actually do the Panchakarma.
Yeah.
You can make the basti and give instructions, do it yourself at home.
Yeah, exactly.
You can give self-instruct, for them to do their own basti, so that is good. Yeah.
And also, she already mentioned about, as we can't use the word treat, cure, we can't call ourselves as a doctor. Definitely, there's limitations which everyone have to go through and understand. And each state has some different rules and regulations where they can also understand. But there is a good scope. When you practice under a scope of practice, still there is a very good scope for Ayurveda.
Absolutely, yes.
Also, depending upon the Health Freedom Act, whether it applies to that state or not, herbal recommendations can be given.
Yeah, there are 11 freedom states right now, and thank you so much for bringing this up over there, Mukta. Moving on forward with this next question, marketing and promotion activities for BMS. Dr. Kaushik.
So I think this morning or this afternoon, we studied a little information from Dr. Shandbag. We went through that struggle of when we were starting here 40 some years ago. I came in '84. And so marketing is very, very important. Going to different health spas, going to yoga studios, going to small herb shops. We used to go and actually speak there on the weekend. Free pulse and tongue analysis. So a lot of free service, but you have to start from somewhere. As we are becoming a strong organization, NCCBAM will have a page of all the certified Vaidyas on our website. So people who are looking for certified individuals and qualified individuals, that is the place we'll be doing marketing for them. But in the meantime, you have to do that yourself. I still give a free lecture in library. I started that 12 years ago from one library. Now that is actually going to all the libraries in New York State. So I'm sitting at home on Zoom, and because thanks to COVID for that. And so it is related to all the libraries. So hundreds of people, first, second Tuesday, 7 to 8 can listen that. So for that, I don't have to go anywhere now. But slowly is marketing. You have to go out, communication, talking to your own peers, calling, there are a lot of holistic doctors now, calling them and says that I'm an Ayurvedic professional, certified by NCCBAM. Talk to them. There are many doctors, MDs and DOs who at this point refer patients because many issues they cannot handle. And so networking is always good. But again, local connections are always good. Maybe when there are some special occasions, like we used to have a India Heritage or basically all the different cultures, they will sometimes give free table. If you're not selling anything. You just are trying to give free information to the public. They'll give a free table. Go there for a couple of hours and put a sign there, free pulse and tongue analysis, and you can just give dietary recommendations. It'll be good to eat this, good not to eat this. And that is the beginning. But people will come. If you see 10 people, you got only one, you started somewhere.
Thank you very much. Next question is about, again, the mission of NCCBAM, because we're dedicated to fostering excellence in Ayurvedic practice in the United States. So I'll ask Vaidyas Sujata to elaborate on it, how NCCBAM is planning to foster excellence in Ayurveda practice.
Yeah, this is very important. We all have the knowledge with BAMS and the Ashtangas. We have different branches in Ayurveda too. So whatever your affinity is, you can actually focus on that to create that specialty for yourself, whether it is women's health, whether it is pediatric health, whether it is mental health, whether it is just clinical, I cannot say clinical, but the Kaya Chikitsa, so you can pick any specialty that you have your own affinity to and promote yourselves like that for that excellence. Get extra training, get, really specialized. That is one way. And, even like whether it is even Marma therapy or Panchakarma, whatever the other specialties you want to add. And, drive your business with your specialty and your audience, your niche practice. That's what really counts and makes you special. So that is what we highly encourage. And keep this continuing education going. It has so much immense value. Connect with peers and connect with practices around you. Connect with integrated healthcare professionals, go and give talks in the library, not just in the library, in conferences and presentations and even community gatherings. It is so important to do that, to bring awareness to Ayurveda everywhere and find a niche for yourself. This is what, we say through NCCBAM, this is how you foster excellence and keep up your standards of practice very high.
Yeah. We always underscore the importance of ethics in Ayurvedic practice in the United States. So that is one of the cornerstones of our mission and vision. Should an Ayurvedic Vaidya who graduated from India to be licensed by one of the organizations like NCCBAM or NAMA to be a practitioner in the United States? Vaidyas Sonali?
Hi. Yeah, thank you for the question. I think no. Ayurveda profession is not yet licensed in the United States, and I think no organization has any legal authority to offer that. So yeah, to answer that, NCCBAM does not provide any license. We just do board certification.
Thank you so much. Moving on, how to get BMS degree accepted in the United States for Ayurveda clinical practice. Hema?
Hear me now?
Yes.
Absolutely.
So yeah, to start your practice, like you do not have to get like credential or anything. Of course, you can start on your own, but we do provide the guidance. We do provide the support. So by getting the BCDAM certificate, you get connected with NCCBAM, you get certified first, and that's your first thing to do, because you can proudly present in your office as well that you are a credential, you are a certified person with a BMS degree, which is credential in USA, so it's a valid degree. And your degree is really sufficient for you to start your practice in United States, as long as you fulfill all the necessary steps. As Dr. Kaushik just mentioned, actually, what you have to do to start your business, get a business license registered in your state, know the laws of your state, stay within the limits of your laws, get your tax ready, get your legal documents ready, get your legal consultation, and NCCBAM is at every step for you to guide and support as well. So yeah, you can start your clinical practice definitely.
So very important, stay with the legal limits of the law. And the next
Yeah.
question is pretty much about that.
Yeah.
Would all BMS practice legally in all states? And can we practice in Michigan State? We just talked about the freedom states, but Dr. Kaushik, you want to elaborate on that?
Well, just talking about one state in particular, look for the local laws. There are 11 states at this point which had this safe harbor for practitioners. So if you are one of those states, you can. Again, limitations are everywhere, but everyone should look in the state law and what is allowed, what is not allowed. But as a Ayurvedic trained Ayurvedic or certified Ayurvedic professional, you can practice within some limits. We mentioned that before. Can prescribe. Basically, you cannot you can put, you can write suggestions, or like in some states we like chikitsa, instead of prescription, use some words which will be not directly related to diagnosing. You don't diagnose anything. So yes and no, which means we can practice as long as we have a license for a as a Ayurvedic professional. So you are opening for a business, but again, then you have to see what the state allows you to do. And if you stay within that scope, yes, we can practice.
Yeah, I just want to, as a segue to what you just said, currently 11 states have passed safe harbor practitioner exemption laws in some form. And this includes Minnesota, Rhode Island, California, Louisiana, Idaho, Oklahoma, Arizona for homeopaths, New Mexico, Colorado, Nevada, and most recently was Maine, state of Maine.
Right. So I don't think Michigan is part of that. So not yet.
Michigan is not part of that.
But many states are like that. New York is not a licensed state, and New York is not a state, or New York is not one of these 11 states.
Yes.
But there are many Ayurvedic professionals, including me. Actually, I moved from Connecticut because Connecticut, we already have 2 offices. So I moved to my practices in New York. Actually, was in Manhattan until COVID came. And as long as you are within the scope, right? If I had to order any test, I order them from the New York office.
Thank you. What are our plans to strongly establish real Ayurveda? I believe it's traditional Ayurveda as we're talking about in the United States, without getting it diluted and exploited by others. Vaidyamukta?
Yes, so the main thing here is the first step with all these years of introduction of Ayurveda in the US and the mess we have landed up in for whatever reasons that were valid earlier. So now the very first step is separating out BMS and higher degree holders of India from all other course takers of US. That is the first step, because that is going to then allow us, it will immediately stop the equating and therefore downsizing, downgrading of the value and capacity of a real Vaidya. When we separate out real Vaidyas from other degree holders, lower degree holders, and that is going to make authentic Ayurveda practice possible and also extend it beyond the realm of Swasthavritta. Of course, depending on each state, but it can extend beyond the realm of Swasthavritta, even where health freedom states, health freedom acts are not available. Beyond Swasthavritta, when you don't actually treat the patient, but advise them depending upon their ailments. That is still beyond Swasthavritta, but you can do that once you separate out your capacity from the other degree holders. And then that will, because we are separated out, that will then lead the pave the way for collaborating with other licensed medical pathies like allopathy or other government institutions, government hospitals, government education institutes for research, as well as promoting running Ayurvedic hospitals or a branch like it slowly started in India. And then this is, I'm just saying, after we separate out, these are the next steps. The first step is separating out, and that is going to further pave the way consecutively for getting licensing for BMS Vaidyas. And because this is the highest education level of education, that means we need to get licensed first officially and at the highest level. So Ayurveda can be used in all its sense, not just Swasthavritta diet and lifestyle and just advice. So slowly it will move on, and that is why we are urging that everyone, each and every BMS that we come into contact with, we are roping them in and urging them to get certified and credentialed through NCCBAM, because this is the only organization which is independent completely. And once we have large numbers, because you know that the other people who are not BMS are practicing Ayurveda and they have the numbers. We need numbers for lobbying of BMS people. And once that lobbying happens, the next step after credentialing and lobbying, it is state-wise lobbying. And from one state, we can, if one state sets the standard, then the other states can follow.
Absolutely.
That is how it has happened earlier in India since independence. There have been different smaller organizations and government organizations which have now evolved into larger organizations.
Yeah, you're right. The need of the hour is to create a critical mass of kindred spirits so that we're able to move on ahead with licensure. That is very important. And this is exactly what we are doing in NCCBAM, and this info session leads on to that, creating those pathways. What kind of...
This is also, this is not a quick fix at all. That is why we need maximum BMS people to join us. Also, we are going to need help with each and every state, wherever the people are, the credentialed NCCBAM people, and then NCCBAM is going to guide how to practice and how to lobby also.
Yeah.
We have to be within the scope of ethics as well as legality, and then each state lobbying is going to help. That is why we need everyone together. United efforts, and they are long stretched efforts. It is not a quick fix at all.
Absolutely, and that's where advocacy, political advocacy and outreach come in. What kind of discussions have taken place between NCCB and NCCBAM? What are the hurdles or setbacks? Vaidyas Sujatha.
Yeah, great question. And this is something that ABC, the American business community, had really taken this initiative to unify all the organizations, especially the NCCBAM and NCCB, ICAA and AAC, which are the board certification and the accreditation boards. So they thought it was very important for us to unite. And we did sit for the meetings and we did have conversations, but it is not completed yet. It is still open-ended, and we are very open to that. And I think in the long run, that is something that the unification is the goal, and that will really serve the standards of education and licensing of Ayurveda.
I also like to be optimistic about that. Vaidyas Sujatha, the next question is also for you. Can we have mentors for each state to define requirements for practicing Ayurveda in that state?
Absolutely. And this is not just for BMS Vaidyas. Say suppose there's a BMS Vaidya who has been in the United States and really has not practiced Ayurveda due to motherhood or, whatever the reason may be. And they want to start practicing Ayurveda. Say it has been 7 years, 10 years, they're out of it and they want to get back into the field. So it is what NCCBAM offers is the ACS credential. It is the Ayurveda Clinical Supervisor credential. These are for advanced practicing Vaidyas or Ayurveda professionals who are very established, who are teaching, who have wellness centers, who have clinics, and they are taking on, whether it is practitioners or students who are mentoring and, to go through the practicum and, clinical experience with them and teaching. So we are giving that credential, and those supervisors, we will be listing shortly the board certified people and the supervisors who have applied for everybody to access, and we would like to have, state-wise supervisors credentialed through the NCCBAM for all of them to access and go and have their clinical experience.
Vaidyas, can you answer this question? Can laymen have minimum BMS degree to be completed before claiming oneself as Vaidya?
Yeah, that's a good question. Well, a person who has the BMS degree, he has gone through rigorous norms of education, multiple levels of examinations, thousands of clinical hours of education, and most of all, they have completed 1 year of residency or the clinical rotation as well. So all these criteria are completed through a BAMS program only. So in today's terminology, yes, one should have a minimum education of the level of the BAMS to call oneself as a Vaidya. Now, if you ask any veteran BMS who has been practicing successfully for so many years, will still humbly say that they're still learning. So there is a lot of scope actually in learning Ayurveda throughout your life, and just having a minimum education does not give the justice of the term Vaidya. So any program, any degree offering less than these basic qualification or education does not fulfill the criteria of oneself to call oneself as a Vaidya.
Thank you so much.
Yep,
Thank
yep.
you. What are the opportunities in USA for post-MD and PhD in Ayurveda and regulations to practice Ayurveda in the United States? And how to utilize my education legally in the United States? Vaidyas Sujatha.
Yeah, I think this has already been answered somewhat, but I would say that there are definitely opportunities. You just have to be creative, stick to your scope of practice, and look into the laws in your state, and whether you're a Health Freedom Act or not, and then legally you can practice Ayurveda. So in the capacity that you're able to, with the limitations of the law of the land. Just remember that. And education, yes, you are qualified. Legally you have a degree from India, but then to validate your degree in the United States is important. That's why we want all of you to get board certified with us.
Okay. Can we practice in Michigan State has already been answered. Moving on, my BMS degree evaluation in the US translated as high school diploma equivalent to 20 years ago. Is BMS recognized as a bachelor's degree currently or not yet? Vaidyas Sonali.
Yes, you can actually evaluate your BMS degree. There are like some organizations like the NACES.org, which does that. So you just have to like submit your transcripts, which you get from your colleges, like the universities in India, and then you can submit that. And what they do is they evaluate like your equivalent grade point in the US. So they convert it into your 4.0 GPO, like whatever the grade point they use here. And then, yeah, you can use that to do masters. So I think, yeah, it's considered as a bachelor's degree here. So you can definitely use these organizations for the help.
Thank you. Next question. How are we planning to fight against the existing organization like NAMA? Dr. Kaushik?
There's no fight. Why would we fight? So NAMA, we are thankful to NAMA for spreading the word of Ayurveda here. And NAMA is a membership organization. We are a certification board. So we are certification and credentialing board, and NAMA is a membership organization. So there's no fight actually. We are collaborating, supporting each other's efforts. But our goal ultimately is to certify those who meet the highest standards of education, basically a classroom as well as patient care. And if somebody meets those, does not matter where they graduate from, we will certify them if they meet all these requirements. No fight.
We're talking about unification, so that's what
Yes,
it is.
no fight.
What are NCCBAM's plans for certifying non-BMS courses? If that is to take time, what is the relevance of the NCCBAM supervisor certification at this time? Sujata?
Yeah, so right now we are in the first phase, and the first phase was the grandfathering. Next is board certification, board exams, and then we'll open up to other certifications. So right now we are focused on the BAMS Vaidyas to grandfather them, and then prepare the board exams and release the board exams, and then bring everybody up to the standards of the equivalent to BAMS. So that is our immediate goal. And yes, we are open to other certifications, and we are going to be aligning with ICAA, which are creating programmatic, the programs, educational programs, and for different levels. And that is something that we are going to also certify later on down the road.
Okay.
Coming to the other question, I think that was already answered. The supervisor certification at this time, that is not just for BAMS, it is for anybody who is interested in Ayurveda and who is getting, different levels of certification. But we are only doing the supervisor credential, ACS credential, for highly, experienced people who are very well established, so they can guide and train, properly how to practice Ayurveda in this country.
Right. So there are many
question.
questions came about the NCCBAM and its credibility. So again, it has been mentioned over and over, NCCBAM is the only organization which has been approved by the state. So it is registered in the state of New York. It have a tax ID number from IRS. So this is an independent entity, completely legal.
Sorry, this was my question, which Sujata just answered. Can I just get a little further clarification on that? Can I follow up? So Sujata, my question exactly was that because you're not certifying non-BAMS levels right now, and BAMS people are not going to sign up for continued education credits right now. So I got a supervisor certificate just last month, but I will not be able to use it, and it expires in 2 years. That is my question.
So you are going to be able to use it. You are a faculty, right? You do teach, correct? And you do, clinical training and mentoring for your students, correct?
But your credits are not useful in NAMA schools, and because you're not certifying those students right now.
No, we don't need to certify the students. We are only giving the credential for you as a supervisor to be that qualifying marker that, to actually authenticate you as a supervisor, not for your students.
I know, but I cannot ask them, I cannot provide any CE credits. What are you calling your credits?
You don't need to provide CE credits. You're only training them. You're only supervising them and mentoring them.
I mean, which I'm doing even without the supervisor.
Yes, of course. But here, the supervision credential, is to kind of give you that designation. That's all.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. If anyone has any questions, please let us know.
I think
I have.
there was a question.
There are definitely, let me just open up. I think
There was just one question that was not answered. I just want to take that. Someone asked how to become a member. So I would just like to emphasize, because I take all the applications and they're under my scrutiny. So I would like to answer that. We don't have membership. Like Dr. Kaushik said, we don't charge you for the membership. You don't have to renew the membership. We offer the BCTAM certification, and you can apply for board certification. The requirements to get the board certifications are listed on our website. If you want, I can go through all of them, or you can send us the questions anytime. There's an email, info@nccbam.org, and you can send the questions there. Please go through it. Reach out anytime you have any questions, and we are there to help you.
One more thing, there was one question, unique question, actually, basically somebody asked how we can help.
Oh, yeah.
So thank you for that question. We need a lot of help. Talk to other Ayurvedic professionals, BMS, MDs, to become member and certified by NCCBAM. Definitely for lobbying and the further progress of NCCBAM and for licensing efforts, we will need a lot of funds. So donate as much as you can. There's no limit for that. And also we need manpower. So some of you who are really good in communication, and then you can devote some time, basically talk to us. We need more members in our board, and for lobbying purposes, we will need more and more. So basically, number one is certification. A lot of help is needed, and whatever you can do, if you can do something, please contact us. Thank you.
And also, if you know anybody legally, attorneys, and if you are knowledgeable in how to navigate licensure in different states, investigating that, educating people of that state, we definitely need volunteers for a lot of these things.
Absolutely. Yeah. Pavitra had been asking for a long time, and we heard this name over and over.
I'm going to call on Pavitra. Yeah.
Yes.
Go ahead, Pavitra.
Sure. I have a bunch of huge list of questions that I'm asking on behalf of so many people. The first thing that I wanted to know, who is actually credentialing the NCCBAM? In what way? Any board or organization needs a check and balances. So who's controlling your board, and who's authorizing you to be the credentialing service? And also, how do you get the same thing for examiners? Who authorizes you to be the examiners?
So when you're applying for a certification board, you have to go through the Department of Education in the state. And when we went through the process, we had to submit all the checks and balances, a lot of paperwork. And finally, going through many rounds, we were approved. Otherwise, when you look at medicine part in Ayurveda, that application had been bounced around for multiple times. So state of New York at this time actually is at the authority.
So are you connected with, because this BMS is given by Ministry of Ayush, are you connected as Ministry of Ayush supporting this credentialing board? Do you have any support, or is it just still an independent organization?
We have been communicating with them also, but I'm sure you know that the NCISM actually is supporting us also in that case, National Council of Indian System of Medicine. And so we are getting some support, and we are looking for more.
Okay. Is there any US? Okay. Is there any US organization that is supporting you, or any US government which is authorizing you as a board?
Number one place was, like just mentioned, state of New York, where we get the. So if you want, I can show you that somewhere, my folder, which is a big stamp of state of New York. And then that's why we got the tax ID number or EIN number from the IRS. So they also have the same name, National Certification and Credentialing Board of Ayurvedic Medicine, NCCBAM. And we are also in the process, actually it's already been there, the application is there, we should be getting that for the tax exempt status. So all legal parts have been done. It's not something we just opened up one day and said, okay, NCCBAM, no. We had to go through a name because of it was medicine. We had to go through a lot of back and forth, why we exist and why NCCBAM, how we are different from other organizations, and what are our qualifications, because people, especially attorneys, they dig deep. and they have looked everywhere else. And they actually, one time I was mentioning to my own board also, they suggested, why don't we go for a yoga teacher or massage therapist, because that actually it'd be a lot of practitioners are actually coming from there. So how come we are different? So I had to send them the whole list of courses we have taken, which was a thick list, because when I came in this country, fortunately or unfortunately, all these certificates, especially coming from Haryana, were not in English. So I had to get translation. So I had a big pile of translated all the paperwork of all the courses we have taken. So I sent them all of that. I didn't throw them away, so they came handy. And finally, they said, okay, we'll approve that. But again, so yes, we went through that process already.
Okay, so going off that question, if and we get that NCCBAM certification, there are so many people who comes to the US, needs to get verified the BAMS degree through WES or some other government approved organizations. So if we are NCCBAM approved, will that be a qualification to enter the college premises, saying that these are the credits that we have, and so we are qualified because you're credentialing inside the state of United States?
Yes, actually, World Education Services is not doing that anymore. I'm not sure why, but at one point they were doing that, and that's how I got approval. So I went for my Master's of Public Health, a Doctorate of Public Health, Master's of Public Administration. So yes, that becomes the route. So if you have those, definitely that is what is route is equivalent to 5.5 years of bachelor's degree in traditional medicine.
So you mean to say if I have a NCCBAM certification here, then I can apply that as my credits for further education here?
No, not for the education, but again, it is a additional certification, because many places they will ask you, have you any certification? So that actually tells you, you can write that you are certified. But again, it is not a, if we are communicating with the organization, we can provide all the proof that this person has completed all the credential, all the education required at this level. But again, you still have to provide your transcripts.
Yeah, but usually, I mean, why I said WS, I don't understand that WS is not doing it, but we need anyone who comes here who wants to do a master's program, they need something to get validated. So if
Yes.
if we can use this NCCBAM as the validation of the credits that we used.
Actually, you're jumping ahead of ourselves also. We are already in that process that one is usually once we have enough people, then this will become the certifying agency for Ayurvedic professionals. So we will be the one, because that will become that's the only thing we are doing. So that becomes the authority. Yes.
Okay, so you're planning on that.
We have already started the process for that. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then regarding the CME requirements, what is the cost involved for the CME credits that needs to be done for
Dr.
continuing
Reddy?
the boarding education?
Yes. Dr. Sujata Reddy will be answered that. She's the one who handled that.
Yeah, so suppose there is a conference and they're offering, say, 10 hours of conference. So we're going to, for every hour of a speaker, we are giving 1 hour of continuing education hour. And so they have to apply to get the 10 hours, from us, and they will put it on the certificate that accredited by NCCBAM for 10 hours of continuing education. And if you are attending the conference, you will get that certificate, and you can use that certificate towards renewal of your board certification.
Okay.
So Pavitra,
then,
we need you in the board. Consider that.
Oh my God. We can talk about that later.
Is that
She's in GCAR board. Please don't steal my board members.
so, Pavitra, are you done? Can we move on, or do you have any more questions?
Do we have any more questions right now?
I do have lots of questions, but if you're running out of time, then maybe I can write it down.
Offline, definitely. We'd love to hear from you offline. Let's move on to any other person who would like to ask a question.
Who is
Thank you.
AKN? Unmute yourself and you can ask your question. Amardeep, is that you? Who's AKN? Oh, okay. Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Sorry, my name is Amandeep NCCBAM as a short.
There is an echo. Do you have two devices? You need to turn one off.
I didn't.
Okay.
Let me confirm. I don't think I'm connected through another one. Am I okay now?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. So first of all, thank you so much for organizing this. This has been really helpful. But then there are certainly some piggyback questions, going forward. And I really commend what you're doing. And I feel you are an inspiration because you have been here for many, many years and you have created that foundation. But then going down the line, as youngsters, what we have come here like few years ago, not like you decades ago. So it's a little bit tricky for us because we are still understanding the conundrum, and we are also trying to understand what has been done so far, what is going on, what can we do to, organize things and help you, and as well as what are the shortcomings that might be different in different states. So my question is pertaining to that. So as you know that, yes, we all are aware that there are 11 health freedom states, but then the other 39 out of 50 are non-health freedom states. So that does mean that many, many Vaidyas are not having a choice to go to those 11 health freedom states to practice. But then they might be working under the license of an MD or a physician assistant or an osteopath or a family medicine practitioner. That also means that they sometimes do not have a leverage to open up their own practice unless they have some kind of certain licensure. And that licensure is also based on the state board, as you mentioned. And now I'm just trying to understand here, because as far as I have practiced in Iowa, I'm from Iowa, and I've been here working with the university as assistant professor. I'm a faculty here, but then I've also worked in the clinic of the university as clinical director. But the thing is, I still have to work under a medical, MD or an osteopath. There is a concept of alternative balance, which is a professional liability insurance for Ayurvedic practitioners. And that basically gives some kind of support to operate under safe harbor laws that allows those unlicensed complementary and alternative medicine professionals to practice legally within the defined boundaries. But how does how would NCCBAM support for those practitioners or those Vaidyas who are clinicians by heart, but then they cannot do anything unless they either have any kind of capping under a medical doctor, or they themselves come up doing some degree like a physician assistant or a naturopathy doctor, because that is one thing that most of you have done to settle down here in the States. But what about the others who do not have a leverage, or who do not have a freedom, or who do not have that kind of bandwidth to do all those things? So because in this case, there are many, many Panchkarma specialists as well, those who are experts and they are not able to practice because they cannot touch anyone except somebody who has done LMT, a licensed massage therapist course. So there are many challenges. So I just wanted to have your opinion on that how we can solve the problem for those who are residing in the 39 states out of 50 states of United States. Thank you.
Should anybody answer that?
Anyone else?
Okay, so I'll start that journey. So in 44 years almost, I started almost, lived in many, many states. I started from the state of Alabama, where there was nothing. People won't even know what Ayurveda means. At least at this point, you have that thing that people do know what Ayurveda is. Going back 40 years, people had no idea. So I found a vegan restaurant called Golden Temple. Golden Temple was run by a Sikh family who were Westerners, and they became Sikh. So they had no knowledge of Punjabi, and they did not know anything about India. They went twice in Golden Temple, but they were offering vegan. So I went talk to them, and I told them, this is what I do. So they said, well, if you want to come every Sunday, and we have a room. So they gave the room, and that's the journey started from there. So I started seeing patients. I was working for the Department of Public Health as eventually I was an epidemiologist, became director. And at that time, having a practice on the side was not allowed. So they found out, I said, it is a, you can conflict of interest. And so I said, this is what I do. And this helps the patients because these people do not know anything but herbs or spices or food. They keep taking 62 capsules of gelatin 3 times a day, and that caused them diarrhea, which we call wasting syndrome. And what department did? So if you know something we do not know, why don't you educate everybody? So I became health educator for my division. Eventually 67 counties, I started going there, and that's how I started getting patients. So slowly, there are a lot of opportunities. Then later on, I started teaching at Troy State University, taught there for 12 years, and basically alternative medicine, anatomy and physiology, hygiene. So those things are there. But in states which are not the licensed state or which have no authority, like the 11 states, I'm in New York State. Does not have anything like that. As long as I'm not calling myself physician. So in New York, in Connecticut, I had that board. I had to take that away. I have visiting my business card, which says naturopathic physician. I can't use them in New York. So I had to change all of that as Vaidya. And so I'm not, basically, I had to have a disclaimer that the Ayurvedic medicine is not licensed in the state of New York. So whatever I'm providing is only for educational purposes. It is not substituting for your medical advice. So as long as you use those technical words, you're safe anywhere you can practice. There are many Ayurvedic professionals or doctors or Vaidyas who are practicing in New York. As long as they are not using that terminology of prescription, they are not ordering blood work, they use somebody else for that, they're safe.
I completely hear you and I understand what you're saying. I would love to hear from you, Dr. Vivek Shanbhag, as well. I just want to add here one more thing, because yes, as you mentioned, and I think I had a long meeting with Dr. Sujata also a month ago about all those questions as well. But then this question still remains stuck to my mind, and I also want some clarity if this big group can, answer that. When you are saying that yes, you can practice anywhere, but then does not it mean that it also is confined to a specific type of visa? Because not everyone is an H1, or not everyone is a green card holder, or not everyone is a citizen here. So this actually does not apply to every single Ayurveda doctor or a Vaidya in this group, that they can freely practice wherever they can, even within the closed and the safety of the legal realms.
Yeah.
Those are
so-
immigration and legal questions. Then you work with somebody else who can sponsor you.
Status is different, but people's personal stories, like the Kaushik's personal narrative, will help you to inspire and create new pathways, create a need for yourself, and that's important. But we can focus offline again. Any other questions? Otherwise, I'm going to make some announcements, and I want to just add here that we'll have another info session, and next time it will be with our supporting organizations who can answer more of your questions. So stay tuned for that update. And there's another update, that's the Ayurveda Association of Florida is going to be having their annual conference November 7th through the 9th, integrating Ayurveda into global sustainable medicine. That's going to be in Tampa, Florida, November 7th through the 9th. We also have an NCCBAM handbook. It's a copyrighted material. We will be sending it out to all those who attended today's info session. We shall give you more insights into what we're doing and pretty much answer a lot of your questions as well.
Sorry to interject. I think Dr. Vivek.
Okay, Dr. Vivek, do you want to say something?
Sure. Thanks to all in NCCBAM. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, so thanks to all of you for sharing this very important information about this very, very vital process of credentialing BAMS doctors who are the highest qualified Ayurveda practitioners in this country. The question that Amandeep, am I saying your name correctly? Is that how do people in the non-11 states of Health Freedom Act, or what is Safe Harbor, how do they go about practicing Ayurveda? First thing, like Dr. Somesh Kaushik already explained, you need to make sure that you are qualified to earn money in this country, which is okay. If you don't have the right visa, you cannot do any monetary earning activity. Otherwise, you are violating the laws of this country. So the common sense is where we are, okay, we cannot violate the laws of the place where we are. Then if once that is taken care of, the immigration wise, by contacting an attorney or by whatever dependent visa you have, once that is taken care of, for sharing information, for education, you don't need any license. So like Dr. Somesh Kaushik said, okay, like what most of us did, we went to a yoga studio and offered a workshop, okay? Or you go to a senior center and do a lecture, or nowadays you can do it on webinars. And once you have made sure that you are able to accept money, then you can, teaching is fine. Now, there is a difference between group teaching and individual teaching. So what you were doing in a group teaching for 10 people, you can now reduce it to one person teaching, and you do not call it a consultation. You cannot call it a treatment session. You do not call it a medical visit. You call it one-on-one teaching. And if you call it one-on-one teaching and you do not use the prohibited words, so no doctor, no physician, no treatment, okay, no consultation, no prescription, no medicine, no drugs. So there is a whole list of words that you cannot use. But if you call it, I'm educating you about diet and lifestyle, I'm educating you, I'm giving you a one-on-one lecture or a workshop, you are fine. But you cannot say do this. You say Ayurveda says, okay, this, okay. Ayurveda says this. You are educating. You do this, you have crossed the line. Okay. So learning the linguistics, okay, is very, very important. So use the right wording and stay out of recommendation or prescription. Then you are doing one-on-one education. You have already taken care of taking money from it. Go ahead and charge whatever you want to. So you are doing fine. So do learn, go on ChatGPT and learn about Health Freedom Act of Safe Harbor laws. There are certain do's and there are certain don'ts. In the 11 states, though, there is a little bit more freedom because you can actually do consultation. In the remaining non-safe harbor states, you have to be very careful and stay in the field of education. That's what all of that Ayurveda health counselor were supposed to be doing and are doing. Now, some people take higher risks, and like saying is that you can do massage and all. No, nowhere, anywhere in the country you are allowed to touch or you are allowed to penetrate orifices. So you cannot do nasya. Oh, I did not penetrate. No, the dropper that came from your, the drop that came from your dropper where into the nose, you penetrated. You cannot penetrate orifices. So one thing, there is a shortcut to it, and I'll finish it here. If you get something called as a spiritual counselor, a spiritual counselor is allowed to hug. Okay, so a touching is allowed. Now, I'll go one more step. What is the harm in investing and getting actually some kind of a license? So in last 36 years, I have talked to hundreds of BAMS people here and says, hey, if you want to get something from this society, what is the harm in giving something before by doing an investment? So go and get a massage therapy license. It takes only 6 to 8 months and maybe only $5,000 to $6,000. But this whole approach should not be there. I'm not going to spend anything. I'm not going to learn anything, but I just want to take from this society. That should not be the approach. Take first knowledge from them, understand what are the guidelines, and actually it will help. I spent $140,000 and 4 years to get my naturopathic doctor. I really did not learn a whole lot more, but I learned the language of Western functional medicine and natural medicine. So I can, and probably Dr. Somesh Kaushik can, teach whole Ayurveda without using one single Sanskrit word. Now, if your interest is nutrition and diet, get your nutrition license. If your interest is touching and body work, which is also healing, get a massage therapist license. If your interest is saying doing specific adjustments or that, get a physical therapy license. So whatever your interest is, I wanted to do full-fledged diagnosis and all blood test and be able to touch and penetrate orifices and do complete Ayurveda, I did naturopathy doctor. Not everybody needs to do that. My wife has done masters in nutrition, and she just sits across the person without touching and does do nutritional consultation for diabetes patients, for ulcerative colitis patients, for high cholesterol patients. So whatever your interest is, whatever is willingness to do the investment, do the investment.
But thank you so much for your input and sharing your insights how to create those new pathways.
This is wonderful job.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. Thank you all for coming, and keep those questions coming in, because we're going to be having our next info session shortly with our supporting organizations, and Dr. Schomburg is one of them as well. So thank you very much for being here, our NCCBAM board, and have a blessed rest of your day. Thank you all. Namaste.
Thank you.
2 seconds.
Apply as soon as you can. The time is running out.
2 seconds, please. The conference that was announced is supported by National Consortium of Ayurveda Medicine,
Yes.
by AAP and by GCAR and ICAA. So this is going to be a conference for BMS Vaidyas. So make sure to check out. The event should be created tomorrow or day after tomorrow. We will post it in all the groups. So just wanted to let you know, this is not just the Florida Association conference. So keep on the lookout.
Yes.
Yeah, and Dr. Amandeep, what NCCBAM is doing is a stepping stone to licensure, which will be the final freedom to practice as Ayurveda doctors. But this is a stepping stone to that. So we have to enable these all these efforts. That's the only way. There is no magic pill other than
We
that.
need all of you.
Thank
We need all of you.
Thank you
We
very
need all
much.
of you together. We can win.
My support. Thank you.
We all know that. Critical mass.
See you
that's
all.
the thing.
See you all in Florida, November 7 through 9.
Yes.
Yeah.
Create
All
a
of
critical
them
mass
are
of
Florida.
kindred spirits. That should be the tagline.
Thank you, everyone.
Create a critical mass of kindred spirits. Thank you all once again.
Thank you.
Thank
Namaste.
you. Good night.